around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. Yeah,
get your boots ready. We're about to go on a trip where we wrestle, nobody settling or calling it quits. You're here for the grit, betcha this stuff is amazing. You're stumbling? Welcome to the bump in the apron. Step into it, the hardest part of the ring. Here to bring fun, yeah, in this art he is king. It's the best thing, making sure you don't tap out. Don't go soft with the hardest podcast out. And it's not just another one, it's clear. Off the rest, in this content, none contest. Take the nonsense off the steps. You know it's nothing but pure gems when it's coming off the chest. Get it? Now it's time to sit and relax. Get your mind blown away, ain't no skipping this track. Have you paying more attention, no listening gap. Get everything I ever wanted, no giving it back. Yeah.
Ooh. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle, also known as the hardest part of the ring. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody is doing well. Hope everybody had a good old weekend, a nice little Father's Day. Had myself a nice cat Father's Day myself. Did a little golfing. Yeah. I'm 30 now. That's what I do, I guess. Still some hey golfers listen to me, by the way. I am sore as cock and balls after doing that. My legs, my forearms. I mean, it's like I feel like that episode of Family Guy where Quagmire discovers porn and he has like the big right arm. Like, but that's like both of my arms. It's not because I'm watching porn. It's because I was golfing for the first time ever. I mean, I did. Yeah, it was a good old time, and we're here now to talk some WWE No Way Out 2003. What a weirdly stacked show this is. Just kind of a random, well, not random. We're on the road to WrestleMania. It's actually a very pivotal show. Very in the grand scheme of things, because if you've been listening / watching the Apron Bump, you know that I've covered this era from Royal Rumble 2001 up until this point, every single pay-per-view throughout the end of the Attitude Era into the Ruthless Aggression Era. By the way, if you would like to go back and listen and come along this journey with me, you can do that very easily. You can go to apronbump.com. You can go to the episodes tab at the top, and you could select Attitude Era, you could select Ruthless Aggression Era, and that'll bring you to all of those pay-per-views in chronological order that I've covered, which has been all of them. And it's been a good old time. It's been very nostalgic, with the exception of 2002, which I did not watch live as it was happening. But now we're getting back to the point where now this is like around the time when I got back into wrestling. I remember some parts of this pay-per-view, but not all the details for sure. So it was fun going back and watching this show because, like I said, man, look, Stone Cold Steve Austin returns after a 9-month hiatus from the WWE. We got The Rock returning ever since. I mean, he hasn't been seen in a wrestling ring since SummerSlam. So he's back, and who is he facing? Well, none other than Hulk Hogan. That's right, we get Rock and Hogan 2. There's probably a lot of people that don't even know this match exists because, of course, their first meeting is a legendary match. A lot of people put that on number one and on their all-time list just for atmosphere alone. This is a very different dynamic, and we'll get into it, but it's very interesting to see Rock and Hogan in their rematch. It's very interesting to see Stone Cold return and face off against Eric Bischoff. And it's just this show, in the context of the time, it's very clear. We talked about this in the podcast. It's very clear that the star power has been missing in the previous year. In the later half of 2002, when all those guys left, You know, you have the brand split, you have different things they're trying, new stars they're trying, start stop in a lot of ways. But man, you hear that glass break and everything just goes back to 1998, 1999, 2000. It's just it. I mean, me watching this in 2023, I felt the goosebumps when Stone Cold came out, and just a great old time. Lots of fun this show, and other great stuff in the undercard too. You got Kurt and Brock involved in a 6-man tag team match. We got the tag team titles are on the line. We got a cruiserweight. We got Matt Hardy version 1 making his debut in the cruiserweight division. Just that's a really good show from start to finish, but it's not without its speed bumps, that's for sure. But once again, we will get into that, of course. But before we do that, I want to give a shout out to my very special guest on this episode, Matt from the Shining Wizards Wrestling Podcast, returning to the show. Always a good old time with my boy Matthew. Go check out the Shining Wizards wherever you listen to podcasts. They go live on YouTube, Twitch, and all that stuff every Monday at 7 Eastern. So go check them out. They talk all sorts of wrestling. They talk about the major stuff that's happening in the current landscape. They do some retro reviews as well. They do some more topical stuff like what ifs and top 5 lists, and they do different games and stuff. It's one of the most entertaining podcasts out there for wrestling. So if you're not watching, you're not listening to them, what in the gosh darn heck are you doing? I suggest you go do that right now. Well, not right now. Listen to this first. But then go check them out. Good boys over there at the Shining Wizards. All the info in the description below. And with that, I think now's about time we hop over to Montreal in 2003 to talk about a big old show leading into one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. WWE No Way Out 2003 with myself and Matt from the Shining Wizards Wrestling Podcast. Can you still taste me?
Like a hot grilled cheese sandwich.
Really? That's what you think I would taste like?
No, I just finished talking to my wife, and I was like, "Hey, are you going to eat this cold pizza that's in the refrigerator for dinner so I don't have to cook?" And she said, "Well, what would you eat?" And I said, "I can make a grilled cheese."
Man, the hijinks in that house just never ends, does it?
Never. It's like a fucking circus over here.
Was it you that eats cold egg rolls?
Yes.
Okay. See, I support that. The other wizards were giving you shit about it, if I remember correctly. And I'm a big fan of a cold egg roll myself.
I'll tell you, they give me shit about everything, Kyle. I wear socks in the house. I get shit about that.
That's a little weird. That's where you lose me a little bit. But I'm not here to judge.
Why? What's your beef with socks in the house?
I mean, if you don't want your feet to be dirty, that's like, it's fine. Get some slippers. Get some house shoes.
I like
Make them little.
I like my socks.
No, socks, they're so constricting. Your toes can't move. They're suffocating.
Dude, what kind of socks are you wearing?
Really fucking tight socks.
My toes are fine. I'm wiggling my feet right now.
Prove it. Oh, man. Well, don't I have an egg on my face?
Cold egg roll on your face.
Oh, we're having fun. All right.
Are we though? Are we?
No. Well, we're about to with some ruthless aggression action we're about to talk about. Did you get a chance to check out No Way Out 2003?
Do you ever ask that to somebody and they're like, "Nope, I didn't watch it"?
Once.
Really?
Once that happened.
Kind of defeats the purpose of the whole concept. No.
That's what I said, but I don't think I said it out loud. But that's the thing. I also like to make sure that somebody like maybe you accidentally watched 04 or something. I just want to confirm that we're talking about the same show before we kind of learn going on. You know what I mean?
You said 03. I watched 03. Bischoff, Austin, brother.
Okay, just making sure you're not a goose. No gooses here, so we're down. Okay, we're good.
That's right. The gander is I don't fucking know.
Two birds in the bush, and I love Bush. So yeah, what do you think about the show, man? Just overall, you said you've never seen the show before, right?
No, I had stopped watching wrestling like right after WCW was bought out by WWF. I was probably around for maybe like a couple more months, and then I found vaginas, and I was like, "See ya."
That's where you found them.
Yeah, not at wrestling shows.
I mean, they're there. There's just
They're
Yeah.
it's like it ain't the best ride, but there's no lines, right?
Yeah. Speaking of which, actually, so I went to WrestleMania this past year, and boy howdy, the lines for the bathrooms is something to see because the guys' line, of course, is wrapped around the entire arena, and there's nobody in the girls' bathroom.
Right.
It was just tumbleweeds in there.
Did you identify as a lady so you could use the ladies' room?
Is that how that works? You just kind of say, "Hey, I'm a lady," and then barge in there.
I don't know, but if I had to piss really bad, I'd try it. I'd probably have a couple Jack and Cokes in me too, and I'd be like,
Right.
I'm a lady. Let me use the pisser.
That would actually probably go really well. They'd probably respect that.
Well, you know what? I don't think you can say no.
Ooh, playing chess. See, I'm over here playing checkers.
I just want to take.
I think
a
you just
piss,
checkmated.
dude. I don't want to stand in fucking line.
Yeah, you yell that at them. I think they'll let you through.
No, but so I stopped watching wrestling, and then I went I probably didn't really watch wrestling regularly for 10 years. So there's a lot of stuff from 01 to 2011 that I'm sporadically I watched, and obviously I do my homework and I try and get up on to date with everything, but I haven't watched everything. So this was fun for me because I'd never seen this show.
Right. Yeah, this is like a sneaky good show because nobody really throws out the year 2003 when they bring up really good years in wrestling. And I feel like there's a lot of fun stuff that happens this year. There's a lot of bad stuff too, but there's a lot of just stupid, silly shit. But this show in particular was pretty heavy on the star power, especially because, I mean, '02 was kind of there was some good stuff in there, Shawn and Triple H and the rise of Brock Lesnar and stuff like that. But for the most part, with Austin leaving, The Rock going to Hollywood, you have Hogan's in and out, Taker's kind of whatever. But '02 was kind of a rough year. But 2000, this show in particular, because I've been watching all this stuff before this, so this really it's stuck out to me how much star power was on this show because of how much I had been lacking in the previous months. Did you get any semblance of that watch? I know you kind of watched this in a vacuum, but did you get that sense watching this?
A little bit, because they go and they tell you the story, like the Hogan Rock rematch is from WrestleMania 18. So I go back and I'm like, oh well, what's leading up to this? And I know I've watched the '03 Royal Rumble because at some point I was like, what? Scott Steiner's in the fucking WWF. Like, all right, I guess I'll watch this. So I've seen the '03 Rumble before, so I kind of have an idea of where we are. '02 was what's that Dutch boy, Shawn Michaels?
Yeah. Couple months before this.
Yeah, that's depressing.
Now, remind me, you're a big fan of Shawn Michaels, right?
Nope.
Oh,
I fucking hate him. I think he's a giant piece of shit. I thought it was ironic that this was the first show back in Montreal. And I think there's a reason why he wasn't actually wrestling and he only had a run-in because they would have fucking burned the whole city down. That fucking one-eyed piece of shit.
Well, he has both eyes.
No, he doesn't. They're forming into one. He is becoming a Cyclops.
Right, I forgot.
How do you forget? Have you seen him on fucking NXT? Holy shit.
Well, they just work independently, you know? They're both there. There's just two different crews working each one.
Yeah, it's like the Spice Girls song, Two Become One.
Right. Left Eye. Well, that's not Spice Girls. That's TLC, but they're kind of the same, right?
She was our when I worked at Applebee's, she was our fiery death of the week when she
What? Fiery death of the week?
Yeah, she died in a plane crash, maybe.
Right, I'm familiar, but was this like a weekly thing?
Oh yeah, because it happened
Applebee's
a week after Aaliyah died.
Did it really?
A couple weeks, maybe. My timeline could be way off. It was Applebee's was a long time ago.
Right. It all goes down at Applebee's.
It was
do you know what? You don't like Applebee's?
I worked at Applebee's for a while. It was the worst. When I say a while, I mean a couple years.
Yeah. I mean, I like their I like how they call their appetizers anytizers because you
That
can
is,
kind of get them.
I
Is that after you?
oh, way after me, way
Shit.
way after me. It's like I worked there for so long, and then you can't go back after a while.
Right. Right. But speaking of going back,
Anytizers, what a bunch of fucking.
well, you see, if you want like mozzarella stick, maybe you want like a steak, but then you want some mozzie sticks afterwards. Like that's fair game. That's fair game. Maybe you still have a little room in the tummy. You're like, throw some potato skins at me.
Wouldn't you do that first?
In any other restaurant, of course, but at Applebee's, they have fun there. That's what I hear, at least.
Do they?
Maybe not. Maybe not when you were there. I think.
Oh no, I have some Applebee's stories. It was a wild time.
Wow. Well, that could be its own podcast, really, by itself. Weekly Applebee's stories with Matt. But
it would run its course real fast.
You'd have one listener. It'd be you. So
I wouldn't listen.
We got. So, like you said, they're in Montreal, and I think it's interesting because they were just in Montreal this past February, which it's no longer No Way Out, but Elimination Chamber pretty much took its spot. So I'm pretty sure that's the first time 20 years later that they went back to Montreal. I could be for like a pay-per-view at least. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong on that. But 20 years ago, this happened, and you turn on this show.
Wait, 20 years? Oh yeah, this today. Holy shit! I thought you were talking about like 1983. Holy shit!
No, 20 years ago was 2003, sir.
I've already done one podcast today. This is going to be a wreck. By the time I
can't wait for Shining Wizards tonight.
Forget it. It's a fucking disaster.
Here we go. No, we're gonna fluff you up. We're gonna get you nice and hard for your podcast tonight.
I appreciate that.
Speaking of hard, how hard does your cock get when you hear Evanescence as the theme song for this show? What a time.
I actually feel like I had this conversation with my wife the other day about this song, and I was like, that song's like fucking 20 years old. She's like, no way.
Yeah,
and we looked it up,
crazy.
and then it's fucking here, and I'm like, oh god, do I have to hear this fucking song the whole time?
Wake me up. It's good, right? You don't like it?
No, well, it was stuck in my head the rest of the day.
I mean, it's been in the background of my head since I watched this show a few weeks ago. So,
How do you remember all this, Kyle?
I don't. We're just going off my notes.
Oh, okay.
But,
hey, I like that. Oh,
yeah. So there's no JR here, at least not yet. And the commentary team is Jerry the King Lawler and Coachman, Jonathan Coachman.
Did he fall on his fucking face again?
I'm Jim Ross. We're here to cause a collision. Why did he even show up? Like, come on, like Jim, relax. Take a $5, as you would say, right?
It's gotta show up. Someone will take your spot.
Good point. Like Coach did here. That slimy piece of shit.
I do not like the dual brands, dual announcers.
Really, I kind of like it. It gives each brand its own identity, makes them feel different.
I didn't like it, and I don't like Coach.
He's just having fun out there. I mean, Coach is only there because JR got a cinder block kicked through his fucking face the previous week on Monday Night Raw. But only put him out for. I mean, he does appear later in the show, so you can't keep Jim Ross down.
No,
so.
Of course not. Come on, you fucking out of here.
You can only sell it so much.
So if it's not Steve Austin matches, it's Natty Neidhart's sister's Instagram. He's getting over all the time.
Do you follow her page or OnlyFans?
No, I am not subscribed to any OnlyFans.
You don't want to see her big old stupid tits and her stupid sister?
I mean, I could just Google big old stupid tits and look at the image.
Yeah, you have it bookmarked, I'm sure.
No, I don't have it bookmarked. You got to clear the history. You never know.
Yeah, rookie mistake.
For you or me?
For both of us.
What are those lights behind you? Are those just like regular lights?
They're string lights, LED lights.
I like it.
They set the mood a little bit.
Yeah, I like it. It's nice. You fucking hate this with me, don't you?
Well, see, you like candles, don't you?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
The the podcasting room also shares a room. So when we bought the house, this was supposed to be the spare bedroom, and I unceremoniously made it the action figure podcast room. And one
You
of
don't say.
Yeah, it was not. Hey, I put together all these detolfs. Where'd you put them? In the other room.
Yeah.
So
Big detolf guy.
Yeah, well, they're full of figures.
Whoa, not on Juneteenth, sir.
Figures.
Oh,
so I have to share. I share a room with the cat, the litter box, the cat's litter box.
Oh, how's that?
It's fine. I'm responsible for cleaning it, so
right.
Fine. But sometimes I want to light a candle.
And your cat? Does your cat ever fuck with the candles? I have 2 cats, and I'm petrified that they're gonna get their stupid tails stuck in it and set the whole house on fire.
No, so the candles are like kind of out of the way where they can't go. But when I was a youth, we had a cat, and it walked right across the table and set its tail on fire in the middle of the dining room while we were all there.
And then what happened? What did you do?
We put it out.
Well, how did you grab it by the neck and slam
no,
it
it
against
was
the
just
wall?
fucking standing there, like hanging out, like meow, meow, and his fucking fur was on fire. And you just
clapped it,
put it out.
Clapped your cat's cheeks to set out the fire.
You panic and you just clap his tail until the fucking fire went out.
Man, you're better than me. I would have just, like I said, just hulked it against the wall, put it out.
No,
wouldn't have ended well for anybody.
Yeah, so sometimes I do the candles.
Right. Well, see, this is my candles. This is how I set the mood. Make a little sexy kind of atmosphere for the wrestling.
I like a Christmas, so it's usually they're like Christmas scented candles, like a pine.
Ooh, top 3 favorite scents. Go.
Oh man, vanilla, pine, maybe some kind of it's like ocean breeze.
Hello, come on now.
Come on.
Well, speaking of coming, we got Chris Jericho and Jeff Hardy in this next match. 2 current AEW wrestlers, which is fun. And the man that brings these 2 together, if you're asking, is your boy Shawn Michaels. Because Shawn and Jericho are in the midst of their feud that culminates at WrestleMania. They've already started building to that, like at the Rumble time. And Jeff Hardy had a brief heel turn like a few weeks before this that literally lasted like 2 weeks, and then it sucked. And they're like, nah, you're a babyface. Continue to flip off of things. But Shawn and Jeff are kind of friends, and they were bickering, but now they're friends. And then Jericho and Shawn are feuding. So now Jericho and Jeff Hardy, I guess, are in a match. Because like you said, if Shawn was in the match, he would be booed out of the building. But that being said, I thought this match was very fun. I had a good time watching this. Two young boys going out there. It was pretty high energy, this match. Some good near falls. What'd you think of this little contest here?
I thought for an opening match, like to start a pay-per-view, like this was a great matchup. The story was there. They told it on commentary with Shawn Michaels, and the action was nonstop, man. It's crazy to think that this is 20 years ago and these guys are still, one better than the other, but still.
Yeah. They're still out there, man.
Yeah, like I watch like Jeff Hardy now, and he's like still doing fucking sentons on like 3 people, and I'm like, no wonder why you have a fucking drug addiction and alcohol problem. So you're in pain all the fucking time. Stop.
Yeah, he's like just recently gotten to that point where it's become sad to watch, which is incredible. Like I feel like he didn't really get that many injuries in his career. I feel like, and it's amazing the style that he wrestled in, including this match. Swantons all over the place. A lot of good near falls in this match, which was pretty hype for this opener. I should also mention, so Jeff comes out, that Ring of Honor show that we covered a few months ago, I guess at this point. This was like a few months before this. So it's like in a similar timeline. So in like 3 or 4 months, Jeff is getting booed out of the fucking Murphy Rec Center or whatever the hell it was. So
booed is being kind. They could have murdered his firstborn in front of him in that Ring of Honor show. They would have. Holy fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that a lot of creative counters, and I like the finish.
Yeah.
Where
It was
Jeff
very
goes the Hurricane Rana power bomb, like it's creative. I liked it.
yeah. It's not what I was expecting to be the finish, but it definitely was definitely a credible one because, like you said, Chris Jericho goes to the top rope. Jeff cuts him off, goes to superplex him, I guess, or goes to Hurricane Rana him off the top. Jericho counters into a power bomb off the second rope, and then right into the walls of Jericho. Jeff tries to get through the ropes, but Jericho pulls him back, has to tap out. So Jericho wins this, and but he doesn't break the walls of Jericho. That fucking goateed asshole, Chris Jericho.
Do you feel like that should be cause for a reversal of the decision?
I feel like that's happened in the past, so it seems reasonable to me because otherwise, we just have people willy nilly leaving on submissions.
Right?
Doesn't seem reasonable to me.
There's consequences for your actions, sir.
But then again, Eric Bischoff, who is in charge of Raw, is a little bit preoccupied sparring with Val Venis backstage, so maybe he wasn't really in a position to make that call, I guess. But I would assume that would come from him. But I don't know.
No, I think the officials have to use their discretion.
Oh, well, who was the official in this match? Do you know? You don't have that noted down?
I don't. Do you?
You don't have the facts for me? No, I don't.
No, I just know when Earl Hebner was in the ring, and I can tell you when that happened.
Right. Or Sylvain Grenier, perhaps. But
we'll get there. I thought that was
a little tease.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it was something.
Yeah, so whatever. Dickhead won't let go of the move, and then the other dickhead has to show up. And then the other dickhead has to show up.
Well, you mean Christian, the other dickhead?
Yeah, man.
The other Canadian.
He fucking drooled all over himself Saturday night in Collision, yelling and screaming like an idiot.
Well, he was excited. He became the champion.
All right. Can you not drool all over yourself on national TV?
Well, you could tell me you never drool when you get excited?
I don't fucking... 600 plus episodes of the podcast, I don't think I've ever drooled on myself once, and I've been pretty animated on some of those episodes.
We're going to get the fact checkers on that because I have a hard time believing that. But
how much saliva do you have to produce to drool on yourself?
I mean, some people have acid reflux, which builds more saliva in your mouth than a typical person.
Is this from
I have a pretty wet mouth myself.
It's a touchy subject for you.
Can you hear that? Can you hear all that in there?
I got it.
It's just a whole puddle in there.
Yeah, but you've drooled on yourself yelling about like a sports game or wrestling or just yelling.
I mean, I've definitely accidentally spit in people's face while yelling at them, for sure.
That's not drooling. That's spitting. There's a difference.
I just feel it coming out now that you're talking about it.
Nice. We'll screen cap it. Use it as the selling point for this episode. Don't even mention the wrestling. Just a big drooly face. The girls do it all the time on the OnlyFans. With their cooters. Just the wet logo coming out. It's like blocking their lady bits, but there's like a wet emoji. Uh-huh. It's like sign up for OnlyFans and you can see what I had for lunch yesterday.
Okay. Is that coming out of their cooter?
Well, I mean, if it's open wide enough, you can see.
All right. Well, we got Shawn Michaels out there in his khaki pants to make the save.
An asshole.
Well, he's look. Jericho and Christian are teaming up on Jeff Hardy. Jeff didn't deserve this, so Shawn, the hero, is here to make the save. And I'm watching this, and we're in Canada. It doesn't seem like I would have imagined Jericho and Christian would have gotten more cheers, and Shawn would have gotten more boos. I'm wondering if there's a little smoothing of the audio afterwards, but I don't know. But
no, it would never.
You know what? That's actually a good point. They would never. That organic is their motto at the World Wrestling Entertainment. So,
I mean, in 2002, if you're a Canadian, are you overly proud of Chris Jericho or Christian?
I mean, 2002, 2023, what's the difference? I mean, what happens in Canada? What's happened in the past 20 years that would change that?
I don't know. That's a great question. They seem, we'll find out, I guess next time AEW's in Canada, we'll find out.
We shall.
We will.
We shall.
If they get an excited reaction, then we know that the Canadians are for real. But here, no.
Well, speaking of Canadians, I'll tell you who does not like Canadians, and that's Kurt Angle and Team Angle, who are backstage. So, Team Angle, relatively newly developed group. Are you familiar with Team Angle, by the way? Kurt Angle, Charlie Haas, Shelton Benjamin?
Yeah, definitely. Charlie Haas, grade A piece of shit. Love it.
Is he a piece of shit?
Fucking said he would do the show, blew me off, ghosted me. So my book, he's on the list. I got a list.
All right, that's fair enough. Okay. Well, this is before that, I would assume.
Yes,
I know you've been doing the podcast a long time. But
I'll give you you want to hear a fun fact, Kyle?
I would love to.
I used to watch Charlie and his deceased brother Russ wrestle quite often here in New Jersey. Seton Hall is very close to where I grew up. So, yeah, we're big fans of them on the independent scene.
I like it. So you're very invested in the Haas dynasty. That's what you're telling me.
Not very. I'd say invested, but not very. Like instead of like $100, maybe I put like 10 on it.
What about Haas avocados? Is that a thing, or did I just make that up?
No, I think that's a thing. I like a nice avocado.
Oh, let me make sure I'm not talking out of my anal here.
You got to make sure they're nice and ripe, though. You got to rub them like this.
Love Haas avocado. Wait, how do you? Is that an avocado?
This is a koozie, and it's a bloody Shawn Michaels. And it says, "If the drinks don't kill you, the Marines will." And then it says, "Welcome to Syracuse."
That's fucking hilarious.
Talk shit, get hit. Cheap shot party. Cheap plug.
Man, those 20 Marines, man, they just sodomized Shawn Michaels and went on their way.
It happens.
It does. It tends to happen in Syracuse. But that's just the evolution of time. But speaking of evolution, we got Evolution here arriving in their limousine, I believe it was. Newly formed Evolution, just a couple weeks before this. Old Trips, Flair, Batista, and Randy Orton. Their leather jackets and whatnot. And they show Steve Austin's truck in the background. Very ominous, even though he was advertised for the show. But after that, we got a World Tag Team title match. The champions, Lance Storm and William Regal, defending against the team of Rob Van Dam and Kane. I thought this was a very solid tag team match. It's nothing that really blew my cock out of the water, but I thought it was pretty good for what it was. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it was there. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I don't quite understand the Kane RVD pairing.
Right. I forget how they came together, but it's definitely like an odd couple, like the typical thing they do. But I thought it worked for the big guy, smaller athletic guy. I feel like that pairing generally works.
Yeah, it's just like the evolution of Kane. Like he's a monster and he speaks with the thing, and then
right.
He was burned to death in a fire, and that's why he wears the mask, and he's evil, but now he's good, and eventually I know how this feud ends when he has to take his mask off, and then he's just fucking Glenn Jacobs with some shitty makeup on, and I'm pretty sure he almost killed Steven Regal with a body slam in this match.
Yes, I was going to bring that up because Regal gets legitimately knocked out for like a few seconds with a body slam of all things. It didn't look, particularly gruesome, but I guess he just hit his head the wrong way. Because I remember seeing this clip a long time ago, and I forgot that it was on this show that had happened. But yeah, Regal gets knocked out. But the way they responded, I thought was perfect because Lance Storm notices immediately. And so Kane slams him, knocks him out. And obviously Regal's not going to kick out. So Lance Storm gets in and breaks up the pin and then pulls Regal over and tags him in. So the way they improvised around that, I thought was really well done. And then Regal, I guess, shook it off. I feel like nowadays they wouldn't let him continue, but he just shook it off and kept going.
Yeah, man. Sign of the times. These days they throw that they would have stopped that match.
Yeah. That was my main takeaway here. But towards the end, because he brought up Kane's unmasking, and they kind of, I guess, are kind of building to that here because the finish comes when Kane has Lance on his shoulder or whatever, and Lance shifts the mask on his face so that Kane can't see. And then Lance pushes RVD into Kane. Kane doesn't know who this is, but it's a person touching me, so I better choke slam him, said Glenn. And he choke slams RVD. They get rid of Kane. Regal pins RVD, and then they get the win. Retain their tag titles, and I guess it's just playing into his eventual unmasking, how it's kind of hindering him. As of right now, Kane's very humanized at this point, but when he becomes unmasked, like the first couple months after his unmasking is probably my favorite version of Kane. Maybe other than like the original, but that those first few months are really, really entertaining stuff. I mean,
to check it out.
Have you never seen? I mean, I guess you weren't watching at this time. I don't know how much you've gone back and watched, but I mean, he sets JR on fire.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Son of
a
what a fucking payday for Steven Regal. Gets knocked out, misses most of the match, then gets the pinfall.
Right? What a pro!
For him, fucking take that purse home, buddy.
Those British really know how to do things, don't they?
I did for what the finish was, though. I thought it was pretty creative.
Yeah,
like hindsight being, where this ends up with him having to unmask. Like it kind of fits the story. So I didn't mind the finish, and Lance Storm looked great during the whole match.
Yeah, I loved how it started out with Storm and RVD because of all their ECW history, and I feel like RVD had like really good chemistry with all of these guys in this match. He probably stuck out to me more than anybody. Because even him and Regal, the way he like just throws RVD and RVD just like dumpies himself when he like gets folded up, and no, I thought it was pretty good. But after that, we got a cruiserweight title match on our hands here. We got the champion Billy Kidman versus Matt Hardy, version 1, and so the whole thing here. So Matt Hardy, newly a cruiserweight, I guess. He had to make weight, and he made it by like a pound or whatever. And my question, well, it's not a question, it's more of just a statement. There's no way in hell Billy Kidman weighs less than Matt Hardy here. Agree or disagree? Billy Kidman's a pretty beefy boy.
I'd have to go back and look at the tape, and then I'd need side-by-side comparisons.
Right. Admire the girth.
Did they... you wouldn't happen to have the I know, what was the 216? What do you have to be under?
It was either 220 or 225.
And Matt Hardy just made it. So you think Billy Kidman was heavier, or maybe in the same weight range?
I mean, I know now he's heavier, but at this point, I would say, I mean, you would at least have to weigh in. I feel like Billy Kidman at this point.
They should have had a weigh-in.
That's what I'm saying, but it was only Matt that had the weigh-in, which I think is a bit unfair.
I mean, I guess if Kidman's already the cruiserweight champion, it's implied that he is of weight.
So what, you just win the cruiserweight title, and then from then on, you can just pack on the pounds?
Yeah, I mean, champion's advantage. I don't know. I don't write the fuck.
Is that what it is?
Maybe.
You're champion for 2 years, you end up 300 pounds, and you're... I mean, I guess if you hold on to the title...
what are you going to do with all that money? You win, you get the money, what are you going to do with it, right? It's 2003. Are people still getting hookers and blow? Are they drinking and driving? Probably not. So you just go down to the buffet, you load up at the Sizzler, and you just eat your weight and eat as much as you can.
That's actually a really good point. I never really thought of it that way. But in 2003, there really wasn't anything else to spend money on other than buffets.
Right?
So,
and the video game era of wrestlers hadn't really started yet.
No, I think they were probably playing their I think PS2 was out. Maybe.
But it wasn't like
Xbox was.
It wasn't like there was an article in WWF magazine like when A-Train isn't busy running through dudes, he likes to sit down and play a game of fucking Crash Bandicoot. Like there wasn't like a thing like that. Like now, like when AJ Styles wants to relax on the road, he brings his suitcase full of video games.
Yeah, I mean, they would have to bring their tube TVs and plop it in the locker room. That's a whole thing.
It's what a pain in the ass. Hey, let me ask you a question because I don't know what's going on here. Why are Matt and Jeff angry at each other? Because they get they interact before this match. Jeff smacks him in the face.
Well, because Jeff doesn't subscribe to Mattitude. I guess the not religion, but it's just it's a mindset that Matt Hardy is a way of life. Yes, I like that.
I like that too. I got attitude, baby.
How much Mattitude you got, Matt? Oh, because your name's Matt. Wait,
More
that's fun.
than you could handle, fella.
Oh man. Okie dokie.
Is this? Let me ask you this: this time frame is Edge banging Lita? Has that happened already, or is it gonna happen?
To my knowledge, no. But I mean, who knows?
Okay,
Who knows
so we
when that
haven't
started.
gotten to that point yet, where Matt gets fired, and then he calls the live wire, and he comes back, and they don't do anything with it.
No, is that 04? I think it's 04, maybe 05. I don't know. We're at least a year away from that.
Okay, right. Oh, God, duh. Because Matt gets hurt, and then he's off the road, right? And that's when Edge swoops in with that Canadian hammer.
Right. This doesn't strike me as the guy with the hammer, though. It's tall, lanky. Although those guys tend to be ones that are hanging. So who am I to say?
Yeah, he's got the glamours on now. How do you think he got her?
She has
snake
hammer.
You think so?
But no, we're just joshing. We're just tomfoolery. And
can I be honest with you? I didn't really give a shit about this match.
So the match was kind of whatever, for sure. Cruiserweight title matches, a lot of times are really good. This one, I mean, it was fine, but like I said, it's not one that I would recommend. Not one that you would have to absolutely go back and watch. I mean, my main takeaways, honestly, from this match was Taz on commentary, who was on fire.
I can't believe you've been saying yam bag for fucking 20 years.
Yam bag across the back from Matt Hardy. It was, and Taz was talking about nut butter at some point.
Yes, it was really weird.
He said that like Matt rubs it on his body for the sweat. I don't know what Taz was doing. I don't know. Maybe he didn't care about this match either, and he was just popping himself.
Maybe he's trying to Bobby Heenan, fucking 1997 WCW style.
What happened with Bobby Heenan?
Like towards the later end of WCW.
Oh, when he didn't care,
and he would like get drunk and then to go on the air.
Oh, I didn't know he got drunk.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of like late 97, 98 Heenan where he's, you could tell he's had a couple drinks on Nitro and he just doesn't give a fuck.
Can't blame him.
No, you can't blame him at all.
Hey, you a big fan of banana juice?
Like the actual like Andrew Dice Clay banana juice, or like, is there such a thing as banana juice?
Oh, Taz seems to suggest that Matt Hardy made weight by drinking a lot of banana juice.
So
apparently
he's implying that he drank a lot of cum.
Well, kinda, because he says that Shannon Moore, the MFer to Matt Hardy, he says that Shannon Moore is addicted to BJ. Banana juice.
No, I know it. I
was pausing for laughter.
This whole match did nothing for me, and Taz is trying to make like. Do you think like we've heard all the stories, right? Where like these guys are overly produced by Vince McMahon. There's no shot Vince McMahon is feeding Taz these lines, is he?
No. Well,
tell him it's banana juice.
I'm not going to rule it out completely.
Say he rubs him down with nut butter.
When you put it like that, when I hear the voice saying it definitely, it was Vince McMahon for sure.
You think so? He's just fucking cackling like a fucking asshole.
It's like cum. It sounds like blowjob. Don't you get it? Finger me. So we got Billy Kidman throws out the shooting star press, misses, twist of fate, 2 count. So the way, towards the end.
Yeah.
He kicked in a little bit.
Look, you gotta realize when you're going up for that fucking shooting star press, if you miss it, you're fucked, bro.
Well, that's why I call it high risk.
I know, but Billy Kidman should add a backup plan. Like maybe you don't always go for the shooting star press.
Well, you know what his backup plan was?
Tori Wilson.
I think he had already accomplished that plan at this point. If I could be wrong.
I think you're right too. Okay. But then he doesn't have her anymore. So I mean,
well, have you seen him recently? So,
right, he looks like a guy that lost Tori Wilson.
Yeah. Well, Billy, he goes for the shooting star press one more time, But then that MFer Shannon Moore interferes, and we get a twist of fate from the second rope. So another pretty creative finish.
Yeah.
I feel like one that he didn't really bust out that often. But that gives Matt Hardy version 1 the win, and we got a new cruiserweight champion.
Yeah, and they're very much about wondering how he's going to keep the weight off on commentary now, since it was such a slog for him to get the weight under control to begin with.
I guess so. All that banana juice and nut butter, I think, accomplishes it, though, right?
I guess he's going to be on a steady diet of that.
Well, Edge is on a steady diet of broken fucking necks because he's found backstage on the floor. Somebody has attacked Adam Copeland. And I believe this is the point where he goes in, like in real life, he goes for surgery for, I think it's his neck, right? And this is like ultimately what caused him to, retire, quote unquote, about 10 years after this. But this is the way to write off Edge here because he was originally supposed to be on a 6-man tag later in the show. But this is him getting written out of that match. But yeah, who do you think attacked Edge?
I'm going to say from the earlier backstage segment with Team Angle, perhaps a member of Team Angle.
You think it was the opponents of Edge, probably?
I think so. I think so.
That just makes too much sense to me.
Well,
but
what couldn't have been Chris Benoit? He was way too old for him to attack him and kill him. I mean, knock him out.
He was way too old?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
a thought. That
was a bad joke. It bombed. That was a bad one.
Well, you know who's bad?
Do better, Matt. Do better.
You know who's bad?
This fucking next match. I'll tell you that right now.
How dare you?
I did not like this at all. I thought this was outside of the last 4 minutes.
It was shenanigan heavy. It was so Big Show. What are your thoughts on Big Show, just in general?
I really don't. I don't get it. I don't like it. I think they bring. I know the Giant from WCW, and then he shows up in the WWF at St. Valentine's Day Massacre. He comes out from the ring, he rips the cage open, all that happy horse shit.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's just like a dude. He's just there. He's losing. He's feuding with the boss man over his fucking dead dad.
Yeah,
he's not. He should have been presented as he should have been used like a special attraction, and he wasn't. So he just became another dude.
Yeah.
And at this point in 2003, I could give a shit less about him. I know what Heyman just turned on Lesnar at the Rumble, right?
It was that Survivor Series.
Okay.
But yeah, it's still pretty recent.
I don't know why you would go from Brock Lesnar to the Big Show, but
well, he's bigger. And also Brock was starting to kind of ignore Paul Heyman. He's getting a little big for his britches. So Paul's like, oh, I need to control somebody. Who can I control? This guy that's been a fucking jobber for a year, the Big Show. So, but then he becomes WWE champion, and it's the whole thing. But yeah, the Giant in WCW I thought was pretty good from what I've seen.
Yes,
I'm still in mid '96. So
before
what I've seen of the Giant,
is he throwing drop kicks?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's
hopping over the top rope.
Yeah.
He's when he's presented as a monster, like you said. He has all the value in the world, but then it becomes, it's the babyface heel thing. Like it's the running joke, online that he switches heel and face every week, but he did. And that's why nobody had time to hate him or to love him. So everybody just doesn't care about him. And he just feels like a guy, a regular guy that happens to be big. So, but he's here facing the Undertaker. And this feud kicked off. This was after No Mercy, which is the Hell in a Cell match between Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. The week after on SmackDown, Big Show attacked the Undertaker on the stage and threw him off the stage, which is a good 5-6 foot drop onto black material of some sort. So that put Undertaker out for a few months. And now Undertaker's here to get his revenge. And in the weeks building up to this, so this is the I guess infamous angle where Chris Kanyon appeared out of the box and was singing Boy George or whatever the hell it was, and then Taker brutally assaulted him with the chair. So it's like a bunch of weeks. It's like there's a different thing in the box every week. There's a puppy one week. There's brother love the next week. It's like it's really dumb, but it leads to this.
Well, the brother love thing makes sense.
Right. Yeah, because it's like Big Show's trying to get forgiveness from The Undertaker, but Undertaker's not having any of it. So,
right, and the brother love was his first manager.
Of course. I love you. I love you.
There's no love here.
Oh, no. No love lost, right? What does that mean? I feel like people say that all the time. It doesn't really make sense. No love lost.
No love lost.
Wouldn't it be like all love lost? Because there's no love.
If you didn't,
it's just hate.
But if you didn't like him to begin with, then there's no love.
Oh, I guess because of the fight, when you're fighting, you're not losing any love because you have no love. We're learning.
Yeah,
we're learning.
It's a apron bump. It's also good for your brain exercises.
Yeah, both brains. So we got this match happening, and yeah, I agree. There's one spot in this match where Big Show he has the advantage. Whatever, he throws 6 elbow drops in a row, just blow, 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 boosh, just over and over again. That's really like a representation of what this match is. It's a lot of just Big Show, just lumbering bullshit. But
I know he used a bear hug. That was exciting.
Love a good bear hug.
I
love a good bear hug.
Reminds me of Bruno Sammartino, and he's boring as shit.
Was that his finish?
Beats me. I never saw one. He put me to fucking sleep. So
I feel like they didn't have finishes back then. They kind of just punched each other until they felt like pinning the other guy.
Is this? Let me ask you, since you kind of have a grasp on this era, when Taz starts screaming "Vintage Undertaker," is this the start of like that weird thing where anytime he does anything he did 10 years earlier, it's like Vintage Undertaker?
Yeah, I guess because he's this is over 10 years, right? It was 1990 he debuted, 13 years ago. It's crazy. He's like a veteran here, and he still has almost 20 more years of wrestling to go.
Christmas.
Jeez Louise.
Because he hits the flying clothesline and he does old school, and Taz is fucking screaming Vintage Undertaker. But then I'm like, he always did that. Like, even when he was like American Badass Undertaker, I feel like he was always doing that shit.
Yeah, I will say though, the first like year or two of American Badass, he was kind of plodding along, just kind of, it wasn't that good. Like 2000, 2001, even a lot of 2002, it wasn't that great. Okay. But I feel like at this point, this is like big evil Undertaker, so he's a little more.
He's starting to get into the MMA shit, right? Is that a thing?
Yeah. A little leaner, a little more. Like he busts out a dive to the outside, which at this point I don't think he's done that since like the 90s. Like, so it was very surprising to see him bust it out here. I mean, eventually later in his career he would do it like every match, it seemed like. But yeah, towards the end gets a little better. We got a old school, like you said. Then Taker hits Big Show with a low blow and a DDT. And goes for a last ride like a dumbass. No way in hell he's getting him up.
No, that's a lot of meat. That's a lot of meat to be picking up.
Yeah. But I know what you're thinking.
What am I thinking?
You're like, well, this match is something, but one thing that would make it better is A-Train. Well, your wish is granted here because Prince Albert's here to back up the Big Show. Well, first of all, Taker has Big Show in the taking care of business Dragon Sleeper, as he calls it.
Didn't Michael Cole call it the taker care of business?
Oh, is that what it's called?
I don't know what it's called.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure Michael Cole said taker care of business.
I fucking hope that's not what it's called. That is.
Call it the taker care of business. Do it now, Cole.
Possibly. We'll review the tape.
Will you?
No. I'm not watching this. I'm not watching one more second of this. We got Heyman's getting up there on the apron to stop the Taker care of business. We got A-Train's in. This is when Taker throws up. He dives on the A-Train, sends him packing.
How does A-Train fit into this? What's his association with the Big Show and Uncle Paul?
That is a great question. So I think Paul is kind of like trying to build a posse of sorts because he's also aligned with Kurt Angle at this point, and he has the Big Show. I guess A-Train's just the next guy in that fold or whatever. So my question here is, well, first of all, you probably don't have the answer, but it's just to throw into the ether. Well, because first of all, this match ends when Big Show choke slams the Undertaker, but his pin gets countered into a triangle choke, and the crowd doesn't respond at all. They don't know what the hell's happening. Like, why is Big Show sucking Taker's cock right now? Not very Brazilian jiu-jitsu educated, this crowd in Montreal at this point. But like you said, this is where Taker's trying to bust out the MMA influence kind of stuff, which I feel like never really took off. It's not really what people wanted to see from him. But the triangle choke gets the win. Big Show, I think he passes out, right? He doesn't tap out. But then after the match, Taker goes out to grab a chair, comes in the ring to beat on Show, but then A-Train's back in, hits the derailer.
I thought he got him with the chair, but then he went for the chain.
You might be right. Maybe
that's when the A-Train hit him with whatever his move is.
The derailer.
Who names these fucking things?
He's A-Train.
I get right? What he is. He's a douche. He was also fucking what was he? Fucking Lord Tensai, Dancing Dinosaur, dickhead,
Sweet Tea,
Prince Albert. Just fucking
Giant Bernard.
Just be a man, dude.
He's A-Train, man. You better get off the tracks when A-Train's coming your way, because he's gonna run you over or something.
And this leads to the stupid 2-on-1 match at WrestleMania, right? Or no, the tag team match with Nathan Jones. Well,
yes, that was gonna be my question. It almost seems like they're trying to build to an A-Train versus Undertaker match, like a 1-on-1 match. But I'm wondering, like, did they lose faith in A-Train at some point? And we're like, add Big Show and Nathan Jones to it, and then they take out Nathan Jones because he's the big, small-headed steroid fuck. So yeah, it's a whole weird thing. But did you get the sense that they're kind of trying to really build up A-Train here to face Undertaker?
Yeah, it seemed like that. I mean, we see the Big Show is the Big Show, right? But here's the A-Train. He's a bigger guy.
True.
It's WrestleMania season. Like, let's maybe if we could put this guy up on a pedestal, he could be another heel for, a champion to vanquish post WrestleMania. That push.
Yeah. Well, it is a weird period where it's like Brock Lesnar, eventually he turns heel, and then he aligns with the Big Show and A-Train, and Matt Morgan comes in, and Nathan Jones, and then they're a whole big just group of Godzillas, and it's fucking awful, actually. But
sounds awful.
You know what else is awful?
Stephanie McMahon.
Well, no, Karate Man, Eric Bischoff, with his Chief Morley, aka Val Venus, backstage. So later in the show, we got Eric Bischoff versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. So Eric Bischoff is backstage. He has his gi on. He's doing the karate stuff. He's getting all loosey-goosey. And Val Venus is like, hey, Bish, you run this show. What kind of match are you and Steve Austin having later? And Bischoff's like, could be a street fight, so everybody can interfere. It might be a lumberjack match, so everybody's just, who knows? We'll figure it out. And then Vince McMahon comes in, says, no, if anybody interferes, they'll be fired on the spot. And hey, Bish, there's no way out. Because yes, that's the name of the pay-per-view. He has to say it. There's no easy way out.
No shortcut home.
Nope. So, but more on that later. But before we get to that, we got speaking of handicap matches, we got one on our hands here. We got the team of Brock Lesnar and Chris Benoit. And it was supposed to be Edge, but now it's not. So now it's just those two fellas.
Why do you think they couldn't find a replacement?
Who would you replace them with?
I don't fucking know. Do I have to pull up the 2003 fucking roster?
Yeah.
Let's make fair is fair, Kyle.
Funaki? Who else is there?
Whatever. A body's a body, bro.
John Cena's there, but he's he's still in his jeans phase, I think. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just Team Angle. They're the heels. Let's give them the advantage, I suppose. So Brock and Benoit have to fight uphill. So it's whatever. But
all right, well, I want to see who's there during 2003 now.
Please pull it up. Throw out some names.
Raw or SmackDown vehicle?
SmackDown.
Rey Mysterio, he's a SmackDown guy. Chavo, Tajiri, Bill DeMott.
So your premise is to throw Bill DeMott in here?
What about B2?
Yeah. Booyah!
Eddie Guerrero.
Well, him and Chavo are out vandalizing and stealing people's cars at this point, I think.
What about Kishi? Big Kish.
Kish, that actually would have worked because they were semi-pushing him at this point. So, man, you might have just cracked the code on me.
I just pulled up the 2003 Rumble, see who was around.
Yeah, no, Kishi could have been one, but maybe
that annoys me because before the match, Stephanie McMahon's like, "Oh, you got a match, go out there."
Yeah, man, what a ripe tomato Stephanie McMahon was at this period, right?
Yeah, somebody on Twitter today was sharing like an article from a magazine back in the day, where everybody would write in, and every single letter that gets sent to the editor is about her bazongas. To quote every letter.
She had I mean, they're not wrong. You can't sue them for slander.
No. I like this match though.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the people in it, it's only going to be so bad, but it was good for what it was. I mean, it's a handicap match, it's a tag team match. They're building. So the previous month, obviously, the Royal Rumble, Brock Lesnar won that. Kurt Angle is the WWE champion, so they're building to Lesnar versus Angle, which will be the first time that they meet. And then you got Team Angle, who they're still building, the tag team champions on SmackDown, Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. And then you got Chris Benoit, who's another guy there that's upper mid card type guy. So a lot of talent in this match. But the one major thing in this match that happens is this is when Kurt Angle, obviously he broke his neck in the Olympics or training for it or whatever the hell. But he re-injures it in this match. I believe he gets whipped into the corner or something along those lines. And then if you watch it back, you see his left arm go limp. Like, he definitely fucks his neck up in this match. And then they have the WrestleMania match. I think, if I remember correctly, they almost called it off or changed it. But Kurt Angle got basically a Band-Aid. I forget what the exact operation was, but it was a quick thing to just get him through the match. And then I think he got a legit operation later. But yeah, Kurt fucks himself up in this match, but they still have a really good match. You got Haas and Benjamin do their leapfrog double team. You got Brock Lesnar, his crazy hot tag, just throwing everybody around. But Charlie Haas eventually taps out to Benoit as Kurt is getting F5'd. So you kind of still have a little sense of mystery as far as what Kurt and Brock can do in a one-on-one scenario, but Benoit and Brock come out on top. And yeah, I thought it was just a fun match.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I think you're seeing the beginning of Team Angle, and Haas and Benjamin would go on to have an awesome career in WWE and Ring of Honor, and everyone knows the pedigree of Kurt Angle and Benoit and Lesnar. And I really enjoyed the back and forth with Benoit and Angle with crossface to ankle lock towards the end of the match. As much as you see it every time they have a match, it never gets old. It's so crisp and fluid. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this match, and I needed it after the last match.
Yeah, Benoit and Angle, they never missed. I mean, their Royal Rumble match, which I don't know if you've seen that, but I mean, that's among one of my favorite matches of all time. Just it absolutely holds up to today's standards as well. Just awesome stuff from those guys all the time. But well, if you're enjoying the good wrestling, I have bad news for you, pal. That's about over in this show. We got the World Heavyweight title on the line. We got Triple H, the champion, defending against Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner. And so like I mentioned before, Evolution just started a few weeks before this. So you got that element. I mean, those guys are all throughout this match. I feel like Scott is just broken down at this point. I don't know. I mean, what did you make of this contest?
I did not enjoy this at all.
Uh-huh.
I still don't understand. I don't, it's 2003, right? What, they bring him in 2002?
Yeah, towards the end of 2002. Yep.
Yeah, so I clearly he lets his contract run out, right? Because he's a WCW guy. He comes in December of 2002. Like, he's fucking beat up. He's bigger than he's ever been. His body's been put through the fucking ringer, and somehow he main events. He's in the title match at Royal Rumble and here.
Yeah.
And he's just not. Look, I love me some Steiner brother, Scott Steiner, and you could even make a case for the beginning of Big Papa Pump. But at this point, he just looks like every move he makes, it hurts. He looks clunky. He looks uncomfortable. This is not good, and I don't understand why I had to sit through this. I mean, I do because it was for the show, but I don't know why this was a thing.
It's just a lot of mindless suplexes. Really, there's no really rhyme or reason for anything that's happening in this match. And the whole, like, with Scott Steiner, his whole appeal at this point is his physique. But Triple H has a better physique at this point than Scott Steiner is. So Scott really, there's nothing he's really offering here. He kind of looks, you're taking his one attribute and you're kind of like diminishing it by putting him with Triple H, who's also a big jacked up dude. And Triple H moves better than Scott. To be fair, I could be wrong. I think Scott might be injured at this point. Triple H is also coming off an injury, so they're both kind of beaten up. So there wasn't a lot of hope for this. But to your point, they had the match at Rumble. It wasn't particularly good. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good by any means. And it's like the Rumble match kind of left it open for a rematch. But I don't know, do it on Raw instead of the next pay-per-view. Whatever.
Like, would you? I think you said Benoit Angle was at 03 Rumble 2, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you have rather seen a rematch of that than this hunk of shit?
I would say so. And it's fun because ultimately Triple H goes on to face Booker T at WrestleMania. And they're already building to that because on Raw, I think it was the previous Raw, there was a tag team match. It was Scott Steiner and Booker T versus Triple H and I believe Batista. And Booker T got the pin on Triple H. So they're already like moving on from Scott Steiner before this match even occurs. So there's like no effort towards this. And it's like, and then Scott, I think, just goes on to team with Test or some stupid shit for the rest of his stint here. But I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, nothing really. I mean, anything in the match stick out to you?
I would like to know why Triple H has to stick his giant fucking nose in every situation. I know he was involved in the Montreal Screwjob, where he does the shoving with Earl Hebner, and Earl like teases disqualifying him. That's like a fuck you to every single fan in Montreal because they fucking hate Earl Hebner to begin with because of the fucking screw job, and now they probably hate Triple H because he's a fucking jerk off scumbag heel. And now you put Earl in a situation where he teases like he's gonna disqualify him. It just made the fans angry. It made me angry.
Yeah, there's a lot of "you screwed Brett" chants at Earl during this match, but it also kind of plays off their previous match at Rumble where I believe it ended in disqualification. So Triple H is trying to get the same result to retain his title, but Earl's like, "Nah, dog, you ain't doing that again." But also, speaking of the chants, there's some Steiner sucks chants. There's some Goldberg chants. So people are already tired of Steiner and looking for the next WCW guy. So, but at the end, Steiner locks in the recliner. And at this point, Flair, who's out there with Triple H, calls out Randy Orton, calls out Batista, but they both get shit canned. But this allows Triple H to hit Steiner with the title belt and then the pedigree and gets the 1, 2, 3. So Triple H retains in a barn burner of a contest, I thought.
Did you think it was a fucking barn burner?
Yeah, it made me want to go burn down a barn.
I can't believe he got a run in fucking WWF in 2003.
it's just bizarre how immediately he's put into the main event. Like, oh, I wasn't really watching WCW at all, but especially towards the end. I mean, was Steiner like a guy where it's like, oh my god, he's the best in the world kind of thing? Like, I mean, I get it, he has big biceps, but what else does he offer at this point?
But
really?
he was always in like those last dying months of WCW. He was always in the main event. I think him and Booker T had that last match on Nitro too for the WCW title.
I guess so, man.
Look, I don't know. Like maybe he was a different, because he was Big Papa Pump and he had his fucking freaks and he had fucking Bodasia and. But like at this point, it's like I get wanting to bring Goldberg in after his contract expires. I think Scott Steiner. I think the Scott Steiner that you wanted to make a single star in '93 when you brought him in and wanted to break up the Steiner brothers is not that Scott Steiner now.
It's crazy how different they are. Because Steiner brothers, Scott Steiner is among one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. He's so good. He goes to TNA and he does some bullshit over there and whatever, man.
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm all set on the Steiner here, but we get something a little better after that. We got the return of Stone Cold Steve Austin from I guess it's been like 9 months or something. I forget how.
Yeah, exactly he walked out. He walked out right before the King of the Ring, right?
Yes. And he's facing Eric Bischoff here. So it's like of course I knew this match happened, but the build-up was kind of like, okay, so Bischoff and Austin, like, what's their beef? But then you remember Eric Bischoff fired Stone Cold back in '95, so that's a big part of the story as well. You also have on Raw, because Steve Austin, he's not appearing on Raw or anything. He doesn't show up until this show. So on Raw, the way they build this up is Eric Bischoff is really getting on the case of Jim Ross, who's a good friend of Stone Cold, to the point where Eric Bischoff and Jim Ross have a street fight on Raw. And I briefly mentioned it before, but it ends with Bischoff kicking a cinder block that's rested on top of JR's head. So that's what put him out up until this match, because Jim Ross comes out for this match.
Yes.
And in the build-up, also Bischoff went to Texas looking for Steve Austin and went to all of the bars that he frequents, and then like broke a beer bottle over one of the patrons. They're creating something out of not a lot here, but that being said, I thought this was fucking awesome for what it was. With JR just about to pop a blood vessel, you got just a good old squash.
Yeah, anytime Jerry Lawler has to, like, you can tell he like broke out. He was like, "All right, relax, sit down, bro. Fucking Stone Cold.
It's classic, man.
Yeah, man. Look, it's a pop every time that glass breaks, and he was gone for so long, and he comes back, and this was all the inside wrestling fans wanted to see him beat the shit out of Bischoff, because that was like a huge. And I don't know how often it was told at this point, because I think this is before all the fucking DVDs where he tells the story, but it's well known that like, this is the guy that fucking essentially put your company under, and you fucking fired him over FedEx because you didn't see anything good in him.
No potential. Nobody's gonna pay to see a guy in black trunks and black boots. That Eric said. What a goose egg. But Eric Bischoff comes out in his stupid gi, his stupid big gloves. Like, they're not boxing gloves, but they're like almost. Like, they're just huge. He grabs the mic and he's like, "Hey, Steve, look, we can work this out like men. I'll forfeit. We'll get out of here. We'll take a powder." But then the glass breaks, and immediately you just like, because like I said, I've been watching everything up to this point, and it was so clear like how much like on a different level Stone Cold was than anybody else in this company at this point. It was just awesome reaction. Steve comes out, and it's just, I mean, it's not a match. I mean, it's ground and pound. You get the mud hole stomps. Eric Bischoff does get a little eye rake in and a pretty stiff kick, but Steve rubs that off a bit and then beats him up on the outside a little bit. Stone Cold Stunner. 1, 2, pulls his shoulder up.
Oh, Bischoff kicked out. Don't be silly.
Yeah, you're right. He's very the resilience on EP here is something to be studied.
Don't go your whole life being a karate man and just lose to one stunner.
He's a black belt. Black belts in karate. You need a little bit more than one stunner.
That's right, you do.
Put
And
him away.
Steve just helped. Stone Cold just helped him up.
Right. Because it's sportsmanship.
Exactly. He hasn't been around a while. He doesn't want to rub anyone the wrong way. He doesn't want to get any heat with anyone in the back. Doesn't want, CM Punk to think he's going to shoot on him. So you pick him up. You be nice about it. Play nice with each other, please.
Yeah. So helps him up. They reset. And then a second Stone Cold Stunner. 1, 2, kicks out again. My God.
God.
The false finishes in this are they're legendary.
That fucking Vern Gagne training. You can't keep him down.
When I was watching this, I was like, man, there's a lot of Vern Gagne influence on this. So and then a third stunner. And then that gets, by the way, Eric Bischoff takes a goddamn good stunner. Like, they looked vicious.
That's why he's never on like those fucking highlight reels, bad stunners.
It's not like the goofy fucking Scott Hall bump or The Rock doing backflips. It's just good. Like, legitimately breaks his neck, it looks like. Takes 3 of them. Stone Cold gets the win. JR's amped.
Holy shit.
Oh, Stone Cold is just loved it. And then
they fucking try and they throw it over to fucking Michael Cole and Taz, and they can't stop fucking laughing.
Well, JR's just having a good time. Taz, hey, Jim Decaf. Having fun.
Yeah, having fun. He was fucking embarrassing.
Probably shit all over himself watching this, huh?
At this point, yes, maybe.
I got a question for you.
Yo!
So, on the Shining Wizards, you recently did a what if Shawn Michaels didn't get injured.
Yes.
In 98 or whatever. Which poses, in my head, at least. What if, because Steve Austin, he goes on to WrestleMania, faces The Rock, and that's it for him. What if he stuck around? Like, what if maybe he didn't get injured earlier in his career? Because at this point, you have Hogan's in the company. You got Goldberg is there. Obviously, Triple H is the world champion. Brock Lesnar. I feel like there's so many opportunities for a lot of dream matches, but they never happened. What do you think his direction would have been had he not retired after WrestleMania?
I don't know. I don't. So I think one hand washes the other, right? If he still becomes the biggest star in the wrestling business, he still goes 100 miles an hour every single time he's out there, every single day, because we learn later on, like his the way he looked at the wrestling business was everybody is out to take his spot, and they built that on the Austin Rock feud, the first couple WrestleManias and stuff. I don't think it changes. I think he still fucking beats his body into the ground because he's so worried about losing his spot. Maybe you get, I don't know, maybe you get like another 6 months out of him, and if he doesn't have one of those neck surgeries, I really don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy because just the people that are there and the matches that never happened could have happened, but for his life's sake, obviously, is the best that he did.
Yeah, but like, do you want we're still at that the era with everyone and their egos, right? It clearly comes to the surface with HBK and Mike and Hogan at that SummerSlam match, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where Michaels is just overselling the fuck because Hogan didn't want to lose to him or whatever that story is. Like, I don't know, man. Does it work? Like
Goldberg versus Stone Cold. How do you see that match going?
I don't know. Goldberg is dog shit, dude.
Yeah, especially at this point because they weren't doing the squash matches with Goldberg. They were trying to have like whole ass matches, and it wasn't good.
Yeah, no, I don't see it going well. Unless there's some. It's weird because on paper I don't think it goes well, but it could be one of those things where they have great chemistry and they can just do a brawl, right?
Yeah.
Does Austin Hogan? What does that look like?
That there's no way that's anything resembling a good match. But I mean, Rock and Hogan won was good, but that's really just the crowd ultimately. So
Yes, the crowd definitely makes the first meeting have the same be as important and amazing as it is. It's one of the most amazing wrestling spectacles you'll ever see. Clearly, we could tell here the old red and yellows and near the end.
Yeah, it's well, not as near to the end as it should be, but yeah. So to your point, WrestleMania 18, you had NWO Hogan versus The Rock. 2003, No Way Out. The main event, we got old red and yellow Hulk Hogan versus Hollywood Rock. Just he's debuting this new theme. He has the new tattoo. He's been in the leather pants and leather vest get up. He's got a whole new persona about him, and this is a reaction to him getting booed at SummerSlam. He took some time off, came back around the Rumble time, and now we're here. And we got the rematch of Hogan and Rock here. And you can definitely see the effect a crowd has on a match. Because not that this crowd was dead, really. And it's also just a different dynamic. You got heel Rock versus Hogan. So you got The Rock doing the chicken shit stuff. And then obviously very heavy on the shenanigans towards the end. But overall,
yeah,
what'd you think of this?
I think if you're a fan of professional wrestling, right, like there has to be a part of you, if you're in Montreal, if you're at the Bell Center, like you have to know, like they did it in '98, right? The Survivor Series '98, a year or two, they did the fucking stupid finish with Mankind and The Rock. Now we're finally back in the building. Vince McMahon is involved in this storyline. You have to have some uneasy feeling that we're going to screw the Hulkster here. And I don't know if that's always the play, but in my head, I think like Vince McMahon's a piece of shit, and like what better way to tell everybody in Montreal to go fuck themselves and to Bret Hart can kick rocks than to do something like this.
Yeah.
Look, for what it was, I didn't have it's not a 5-star match. You do the best with what you have. The Rock's been gone a while. The Hulkster's fucking old as shit. I like the finish. I thought that was creative with the referee, and obviously he ends up going on to become a full-time wrestler. So I thought that was fun.
Sylvain Grenier, the referee, who we've never seen him ref. This is his first time reffing a match. It just happens to be a main event of a pay-per-view. But he's Canadian, so that's why he's there.
Yeah, sink or swim, big guy.
I guess so. But
I had a feeling something was up when he stopped the Hulkster from using the chair on The Rock outside.
Yeah, so I mean, the match is what leading up to the finish. There's not a whole lot going on. You have, like I said, the Rock's. He doesn't want in. He's rattled, and then Hulk does his. He hulks up the big boot, all the stupid shit.
I like how the Rock mocked him during the one people's elbow.
What did he do?
He did like the Hogan poses.
Well, didn't he wear his bandana for half the match?
He did that too. That was pretty entertaining.
Whipped him with his belt too. Just good shit. And then Rock. So towards the end, I guess the ref. No, the ref's there, but the Rock has a chair. He tries to hit Hogan, but Hogan takes the chair, and then the ref takes the chair from Hogan. The Rock hits a low blow. He hits the spine buster on Hulk Hogan, 2 people's elbows. But Hogan kicks out. Amazingly, he hulks up. Oh, brother, what you gonna do? Hits the big boot. Hits the leg, brother. And then the lights go out. Oh. And then they come on. And then Sabu's in the middle of the ring. No, it's the ref's down. There's a chair in the ring, I guess. Vince McMahon comes out. And then as Hogan is looking at Vince, because Hogan and Vince have been going at it for the weeks leading up to this, the ref, who was supposedly knocked out, slides the Rock the chair. Rock hits Hogan with the chair, hits the rock bottom, gets the 1, 2, 3, and by God, a screw job in Montreal. Never heard of it. Never heard of it.
Terrible.
This wasn't the first. This wasn't the last time they did something like this in Montreal either. They couldn't help themselves. But yeah, so closing shots of this show is Rock, Vince McMahon, and Sylvan, just a bunch of slimy dirtballs heading towards the back. Rock and Sylvan, they head to the back, but Vince, goddamn pal, Vince isn't done. He goes back to the ring. He takes off his button up and reveals a Hogan t-shirt with so on the front it says, "What you gonna do?" And Vince has the word "nothing" across it. And then the back of the shirt says "brother," and Vince adds "sucks." So it's fun. Then Vince poses with the shirt. He does the ear thing. He fucking rips the oh, it's such good shit, pal. It's such good shit. Great way to end the show, I thought.
It was interesting. I'll leave it at that.
I mean, the physique on this Vince McMahon, though.
Oh, yeah.
Looked like Hulk Hogan.
Oh, yeah. Him and the Hulkster just stare at sharing needles, brother.
It's all natty, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Is it all that?
A lot of creatine and chicken breast from this Vince, I think.
Yeah. No, and Ico Pro.
Yeah. You
gotta
never steer you wrong.
Want it.
What's that?
You gotta want it.
Is that what Lex Luger said in the commercial?
I think that was the catch. I'm watching a lot of 1993 WWF for a Patreon project I'm doing. So,
man,
yeah, it's what a time to be alive. The Hulk Hogan Vince McMahon feud continues in 2003.
I'm gonna tell you what, though, that WrestleMania match, it's incredible.
Is that the one? Is it just Hogan versus Vince, or is Shane involved too?
Shane might be in there somewhere. It's definitely just a one-on-one match. This is when Roddy Piper interferes. Shane probably pokes up at some point. No, yeah, I think Shane does pop into that match. No, we'll see.
Ah, yes.
I'll keep you abreast of what happens in that
please
match.
Do that.
But yeah, man. So that's No Way Out, 2003. Any other overall thoughts on this show that you had watched for the first time?
I think overall it was a good show. I think WWE does a good job of. So I wasn't watching. So the packages beforehand, they've always done a good job of catching you up as to what has been going on. And even if you take out the big money matches, I thought the 3-on-2 match, and the opening match. And the tag match, even though I wasn't a big fan of the tag match with the finish and stuff, I thought it was a solid card.
Yeah, I mean, definitely with the star power, it was probably one of the most star-studded match or cards of this era, at least. But there were some shining moments in this show. But speaking of shining,
oh, I see what you did there.
Oh, smooth as silk. The Shining Wizards,
my guy,
wrestling podcast. Where can everybody find you, listen to you, and kiss you on the cheek?
You can throw Shining Wizards Wrestling Podcast into any search bar on wherever you listen to podcasts, and we'll pop up. We are available everywhere. At Wizards Podcast is our social media handle. So make sure you give that a follow, and you like and subscribe to all our shit so you never miss an episode. We're always doing some kind of crazy, ridiculous shit.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we made it through a whole episode without you sending me a picture of somebody's gaping asshole. So I think it's a win, right?
For who?
Do you have any more assholes like in your Rolodex?
No, that's like the world famous Brian Knobs butthole picture. So
yeah, it's nice. I was glad to be reminded of it when I messaged you about this show. So thank you for that.
Hey, no problem, buddy. I send it to everybody I like. So
no, I appreciate it.
Well, sharing is caring.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that how he got that gaping asshole? Because he shared it with everybody?
No, I just think that's Brian Knobs' butthole, man. I don't know how he got it. Some people are born with a big butthole. Some people have a big nose. He has a big butthole.
Once again, thank you to Matty Boy for joining me on this episode. Go check out the Shining Wizards Wrestling Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as YouTube, Twitch, Omegle, Grinder, all of your usual suspects. Sweet boys, very, very, very entertaining podcast. Do it. Just stop being a little bitch. Just go do it. While you're at it, follow me on all the social medias at Apron Bump on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. All of it. All just Google Apron Bump and just hit subscribe to whatever pops up. I'm in places that I didn't even know I was, to be honest. So but yeah, I think that's about all Daddy has for you today. Yeah, no way out of this one, huh? What? No way out? Well, there's one way out, and that's bye. I'm hard.
Yeah.
It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it.